What's your current ideas about affirmations? You might have thought that they're nice, but you don't really believe in them. They're not really for you, they don't really work. They're a bit flowery, airy-fairy. Well, today I want to make affirmations work for you. And I'm going to introduce to you, first of all, a new word called neuroplasticity. And what neuroplasticity is, it is the ability of your brain to make new connections and therefore ultimately create new ways of thinking, new behaviours, new patterns. And that means affirmations can work for you. Think of it like a path. The first time you walk through a field, it might be a bit tricky, things get in the way. But then the next time you do, you can see where you've been before. And over time, that path becomes more and more well-worn and easy to travel down. And that works in two ways. Our old paths and pathways might therefore be our default. That path is so easy to walk down in our thinking, our behaviour, our choices, that it happens automatically. It means the new path can therefore be a little bit harder to create. We therefore have to invest in it. And do you know what I find really, really cool and a bit weird? Is that our brain doesn't actually know the difference between reality and our imagination. And you can see this in films, like, I don't know about you, but you can get really invested, or in TV series, really invested in the characters and the story, and it provokes real emotion in you, doesn't it? But it's just fiction. Literally, those things do not exist. And so it's the same with affirmations. Like, the affirmation is the imagination, it's the imagery, it's the thing that you want to create, and therefore our brain will buy into that as much as it would anything that is real in our lives. So why might affirmations not work? You might be thinking that, oh, I've tried them, but yeah, just didn't have an effect. And it might be because somehow, consciously or subconsciously, you've not committed to it as a process. If you don't truly believe them, then yeah, they're not going to work for you. And secondly, sometimes our old patterns are really strong. And that makes sense, doesn't it? Because we've been building those over decades, potentially. And it's been ways that our brain and our bodies have tried to cope with things. So these are my 4 top tips to make affirmations work for you. Hopefully I've got you curious now. This is the way that we can start to build affirmations in to change our lives. Right, get yourself comfortable. This is our first big idea. First of all, choose something short, memorable, and that you can believe in. So you don't have to pick things like, I am a being of the universe that's beautiful and abundant. If that doesn't resonate with you, if you're not feeling that, your brain's going to reject it. So choose something that feels right for you. I started off with things like, I am committed to, because I felt like I could get behind that. It rang a bit truer for me. But it doesn't have to be someone else's affirmation. It doesn't have to be particular words or particular ways. Choose something that really, really works for you, that you can believe in. Choose something short, memorable, and that you really believe in. Okay, number 2, step into the feeling. Step into the feeling behind the words. So as you use your affirmation, slow down, breathe, and connect to that feeling. And what do I mean by that? So an affirmation for me might be, I am creating space to be a relaxed woman. So as I start to repeat that to myself, I slow down, I breathe, I actually start to become more relaxed, and I can start to consider how a relaxed woman might frame her day, might go through her day, what things she might choose. So I step into that future version of myself that is more relaxed. And I'd also like you to notice where you feel resistance. So even if you've chosen something that you really connect to, as you start to pattern this and repeat it, it's not unusual for you to feel some resistance. And if that happens, accept it. Notice where it is in your body as well. Is there a physical place or a sensation, a feeling of heaviness or tightness that is associated with that resistance? And honour it, because that resistance to the change has served you in some way. Our bodies, our nervous system, our mind has adapted to try and get us through some tough stuff. And therefore, that resistance to that old way of thinking is there for a purpose. It's for a reason. It's been there to serve you in the past. So notice, honour the resistance. You don't have to have a boxing fight with it and try and beat it into submission. Okay, number 3 we're on, that first big idea. And before I tell you my next 2, pause, head down to the description section where you'll find links to my social media, my blog, and you'll see I have some free things for you as well. So I'd love for you to click there, because I really want to land in your inbox and start a conversation with you, give you some free tips and amazing ideas, some amazing resources, utterly free, so that you can start to step into your picture of full health. Strength in mind, body and spirit. It's what I'm all about. Okay, so next 2 big ideas. Number 3 is say your affirmation out loud or write it down. And I use this in my coaching practice all the time. The thing is, like, our brain's so funny, isn't it? If you just say it in your brain, then somehow we don't put as much importance or weight behind it. It's almost like it's private, and therefore it doesn't matter as much if we break it or step away from it. But if you say it out loud, or if you write it down, or even more powerfully, if you said it to someone else, then it increases the commitment. And that commitment to the process, to you, investing in you, is everything, isn't it? So say it out loud, write it down. If it feels too cheesy to say it in the mirror to yourself, then maybe just repeat it in the car. And, you know, no one's listening. No one's going to care if you sound stupid. It's about you. It's not about them. So say it out loud and really commit to it. And then finally, be consistent. Be consistent. Remember we talked about those paths? Some paths can be really wide and easy to walk down, the old stuff. The new stuff, the new paths are going to take time to create. There is no big magic silver bullet overnight success that you're going to be like, yeah, I did some affirmations last night and now my life is entirely different. The reality is, change is not big or grand for most people. Change is small, subtle shifts that gives us the biggest impact over time. So with an affirmation, repeats, repeats, repeats. Get it visually up in front of you so that you can't forget about it, so that you are reminded to do it every single day, multiple times a day if you can. But don't expect, like, saying an affirmation once to have an effect, the same way that one workout or one salad isn't going to change your health or your fitness. Repeat, repeat, repeat. Finally, I just want to share with you that the goal of affirmations isn't about change first and foremost. Honestly, it's not. It's about accepting who you are right now, and therefore stepping into more awareness, moving towards what is possible. Remember, those small, subtle shifts create the biggest impact. Go out there and repeat.